Hello, everyone. Sorry for the late start. I had a bit of an issue with my internet. Maybe let's give it 3 more minutes and then we can get started. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here this evening. So just to start off the session, my name is Naila and I am the Communications and Marketing Lead at Mental 360. I'd like to introduce the people who will be addressing us this evening. So the first person we have is Rebecca Wanyonyi, who is a counseling psychologist at Mental 360. She may not be one of the active speakers, but she is who we will address when we have any concerns in regards to how this topic of online harassment affects mental health. That is our person of contact. And then in regards to the speakers, we have Taslin Otieno, who is a young leader with a bachelor's degree in arts, political science, and who is currently pursuing a master's of gender and development at the University of Nairobi. She has over 5 years, of experience working on areas youth agenda. And then we have Miss Anita Kirote, who will be our moderator this evening. Anita holds an MA in Public Administration and a bachelor's degree in Political Science and Public Administration from the University of Nairobi. She is a CPA and she vied for the Tharaka-Nithi state position in August 2022 and currently runs a horticulture magazine. And then we have Wanjiku Thega, who is a development communication specialist and a women and youth rights crusader and a Pan-African. She's a seasoned gender expert and in numerous occasions has been involved in initiatives aimed at protecting and promoting the respect of women and youth in Kenya. This includes organizing and mentoring youth groups, conceptualization of youth development projects at both local levels and national levels. And she has also participated in and led advocacy and campaigns aimed at youth development on both local and national media platforms. So mine was just to introduce this session and hand it over to Anita, who will take us through the webinar.
Thank you so much for that. I think we'll delve straight into it. Nice to see you, Wanjiko Thiga. I'll also request Taslin to kindly, please, let's have you on mic so that we can see you.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you. Good to see you. So we'll delve straight into it. And we'll begin by the definition of online harassment. And according to Durham University, online harassment can be defined as the use of information and communication technologies by an individual or group to repeatedly cause harm to another person. And I'll go straight to you, Wanjiko Thiga. In your profession, in your experience, having vied, would you say you have experienced online harassment?
Thank you, Nkirote, for the question, and I'm grateful to be here to have this insightful discussion. So, yes, in my work, I have really gone through online harassment, both as an activist, because I really am at the fore fighting for the rights of both young people in Kenya and women, and also as somebody who has gone through politics. I have gone through also online harassment, and this has been really actually has really had a lot of effects on me as a young person, and I have had to go through therapy because of such online trolling. But it's sad to say that I'm used to trolling, but we shouldn't be used to violence anyway. But I'm used to now being trolled. It's not something shocking when I'm on TV, and then when I go check, once the TV station has posted a link on the discussion, you go read the comments and you just see people just calling your name. So I think I'm used to it now. Thank you.
Thank you, Wanjiko. You vied in Kiambu, which is in central Kenya. Taslin vied in Western Kenya for the MCA position. So Taslin, please go ahead on your views and whether you've experienced online harassment.
Thank you, Nkirote, and thank you to Mental 360 for this timely discourse. I'm really happy to be part of this. And yes, as a young woman who tried, I didn't try, but who vied for an MCA seat in my village, I have experienced online violence in some very crazy ways. Some are even traumatizing, but it's okay. And even as a HRD, I have experienced it because when I was vying,
I think these guys had like 4 WhatsApp groups that they would just be harassing me. I leave, they add me back, I block them, they look for another number of mine, they add me, they look for my supporters, they add them there, they take, it was a lot. But just as Tiga said, you get to a point where you get used to it as a person. And it's not a beautiful thing to get used to trolling and attempts of doxing and all those things, but it is what it is. Thank you.
I think it's a very sad state of affairs that for a young woman in politics, it's almost the norm, and quote unquote, it's I hear the phrase, maybe Taslin, you've alluded to it, like, where's Zoea? Like, get used to it. It's part of the job. And Wanjiko, how at what point did you decide to go to therapy, and why did you go to therapy?
It's funny, I didn't decide to go for therapy. It was part of a session I had to go through. And just like Taslin, I was really trolled on village WhatsApp groups, during that time, campaign time. That's when it was crazy. It was on another level. And I became insomniac. After campaigns, when I come back home, maybe around midnight, I just want to go through the WhatsApp groups. I hear what people are saying. I go online just to read what people are saying. And it was crazy what people, especially if you're a very strong candidate, then you're the biggest target. And if you're a woman now, what they do is they hit you below the belt. They now talk about they sexualize you. And there's nothing as bad as being a sexual object, because now people throw any kind of words. And not only did this affect me, but it affected my mom, my siblings and those WhatsApp groups, students they go to school with, neighbors, churchgoers, So this really affected also my family, not just me. And I was among the support groups for women who are running for office. And what happened is that one of the programs we had to go through was mental well-being. So when I was told about when I logged into the session, I was told, have you noticed any patterns that have changed in your life? And that's when I started noticing, oh my God, this has been affecting me. I'm not even sleeping. I'm not dropping my phone. I'm just obsessed to just listen to what people are saying and names that are calling me. And you start even doubting yourself. Even when you're in the campaign trail, you get the microphone. You even second guess yourself on what you want to say. So when the first moment I checked into the mental wellness session, then that's when I realized that I've been even going through depression because of it. And that's when I started taking therapy really serious.
Sorry, I had not unmuted. Thank you, Wanjiko Thiga, for that insightful conversation. And Rebecca, thank you for joining us. Rebecca is a therapist, and I don't know if you're privy to what we've talked about, but Wanjiko and Taslin have shared the experience of online harassment. Wanjiko told us she went through therapy, and at what point, how does a young woman in politics protect herself? Is it an ongoing process? How do you prevent? Can you prevent it? What would you say as a professional in that regards?
Thank you, Nkorete. For me, I think what is important for us is to be able to identify when we are starting to have an issues mentally. Just as Wanjiko said, somebody mentioned, are you okay? Because there are a lot of things that are going around. So we can have some symptoms. Definitely this kind of harassment causes some effects to us. And some of them will be withdrawal, being paranoid, as Wanjiko has just said, paranoia, not anxiety level tend to go high. We even have others who tend to have panic attacks in the process. So when do we start to be able to go for therapy? what I will advocate for definitely is to be the awareness of our mental health, even as we start the whole of this process. Understanding that when are we supposed to pause, when are we supposed to take a little break, just a mental break even before going on. So in case somebody starts having these symptoms, it's good to go for therapy or professional help immediately, especially to avoid the aspect of depression, just as Wanjiko has said, and the therapist will be able to walk you through the whole process of counseling. It's a whole process. It cannot go, it is not 1 hour or just 2-session thing. It's something depending again to the extent at which somebody's feeling of the symptoms are. The process can take longer, or first aid psychological help can be given just to enable one be able to continue well. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca, for that insight. And later on, I'll invite the audience to contribute. So I see Marceline get ready. She runs an organization that also works with women at the grassroots vying for political office. So Marceline, don't say I've ambushed you. Yes, thank you. So the other aspect is intersectionality, sorry, and intersectionality. Taslin, I'm sorry, I see what you did. Yes, so intersectionality means that online harassment affects you more than just you are in politics, you are also a woman, there is also an aspect of gender, there's an aspect of race. Wanjiko, have you experienced it? Would you say maybe your age mate, if a man vied or you are competing against a man, would you say, quote unquote, they had an added advantage and you are subjected to more harassment as a woman and as a young woman for that matter?
Yes, definitely. Intersectionality is a framework of understanding how your social and political identities, when they combine, the kind of discrimination and privileges that you go through. Most of the time, it's usually, okay, sometimes it's empowering and sometimes it's oppressing, but for us, mostly women, it's usually oppressing. So for example, myself when running for office, even as Taslim, as young women, you go through the fact, first of all, you are a woman. Number 2, we are unmarried. Number 3, we don't have children. Number 4, you're a Black woman. And then number 5, in fact, access to capital is quite low. And the same man running for the same office, whether he's married or unmarried, whether he has a baby or not, whether his finances are high or not, the challenges that he goes through are very little compared to what I go through. I remember, when a man is first seen, immediately seen as a leader, immediately as a man, when you profess you want to run for office, immediately people see you as a leader. But as a young woman, immediately you say you want to run for office. People ask you, then why do you want to run for office? Why do you think you are a leader? Are you married? When you say no, they say, won't you get married and leave from this society and go to another society? Why don't you have a child? Even if it's out of wedlock baby, have a baby so that you can understand that you can be responsible. So you have to keep defending your passion, your leadership capabilities, even when you show the kind of responsibilities as a leader that you've held. For example, I was a Mandela Nawaka representative for 5 whole years, and I really brought progressive things into our communities, but I still had to defend myself. And every single day, I used to be called to attention on these WhatsApp groups on Facebook to keep defending my manifesto. But there was no man who was asked about their manifesto. But for me, my manifesto kept being scrutinized every single time. And I realized even senior women weren't going through that. But I felt that people felt that they could really intimidate me because maybe of my age and because I wasn't married. Again, I wanted to access the Council of Elders so that they can be able to sort of endorse me. In our cultures, we know that Council of Elders really have a big say. But first of I lost my dad in 2010, so my dad couldn't speak on my behalf. And then none of my uncles live around me, so they couldn't speak on my behalf. I don't have a husband. So who could speak on my behalf? So you see, people kept calling me and saying, you know what, I'll go speak on behalf of you to the Council of Elders. So for us Kikuyu, we have our traditional beer. So please buy Moratina, Mtungi of Moratina, which is 3,000 shillings, and then you're going to discuss you and your issues, and then you're going to give you feedback. Because as a young woman, even as women, we can, because of cultural our cultural beliefs, a woman can't address or even can't sit in a Council of Elders meeting. But these people are just eating my money. There was no discussion about me. They didn't speak about me. So again, you see, intersectionality really comes out to play. And I'm sure Taslin also went through that and she can share her own experience. It really does come out to play. It blocks you from accessing majority of the votes as well, because again, we know also a lot of people who vote are also men, and at a certain age, achana na vijana, but at a certain age, they really get out to vote. So it blocks you from also accessing that kind of votes around.
Thank you, Wanjiku. At least you tried to meet your Council of Elders. For us, the Meru, meeting Jurisheke as a woman, first of all, that's unheard of. Like, what is going through your head? Even the mayor suggestion is madness. Yet, when it comes to political play, they contribute a lot. Yes, so
Yes.
I guess patriarchy really manifests itself. I'll request Mental 360 to kindly remove Arturo.
Arturo, have you seen him? There's someone in the comment section that's really funny. He should be removed.
Yes, so please with immediate effect. Yes, thank you. So
Niggers.
Потому что в самолете все зависит от винта.
Sorry about that.
Niggers.
remove Adam.
He's
What's
still,
going
he's
on,
still
niggers?
around. Oh my God. This is the intersectionality we are talking about,
Literally removed. Who else? Is there anyone else who's been problematic that I've not removed?
I think we need to be on the watch.
Yeah.
For the
Because I know they'll keep on joining. If they can
Yeah,
block
because
it
they
out, then
already
that would be
have.
okay.
Okay.
I think next. Oh wow, yeah, this is what we are talking about. Taslin, please take it.
Oh my God, I'm really thrown off by that. I was not expecting such a thing. I've never experienced it in Zoom or anything. And okay, in politics, as a young woman who's youth, who doesn't have a child,
Remove Mia
first,
Khalifa.
can I go on?
Yes, please.
While in the campaigns, before you even start talking, you have to tell them why you are vying as a woman. because already somehow you're sinning, but maybe when you explain, they will understand. So you have to tell them why you're just a little girl who is competing his brothers or fathers, because in my community, I am Amigogo. Amigogo is a daughter of the land. And as a daughter of the land, you're disinherited. That means you cannot be married in that area. You cannot inherit anything from your parents. Like you're expected when you get to some age, you move out and get married off somewhere else and use your husband's property. And here I am trying to vie for a position of maybe a decision-making table. And so they were really like, what do you want here? You're not welcome here. So I also had a lot of issues getting to the Council of Elders because first of all, the monetization of campaigns has really been something that should be looked into because each and every meeting where you meet these people, you have to give them.
Remove Christiana.
You have to give them 1,000 each, and there are like 50 people. You have to provide food and then pay for the venue. And you are a young girl. I don't know how many years have I worked since I finished school? Maybe 3. And they expect you to treat them the way these other people that have been around have worked for a minute. They want you to treat them the same. So I was really having a lot of challenges in that. And it's not like I haven't done things in the village because they even call me in my language.
Taslim, please proceed.
Yeah.
Out as strangers or okay.
And are they Kenyans?
I don't know.
I think I'm really disoriented already. But yeah, just as I was saying, I had already done a lot of things in the village. I provided sanitary towels to girls, school-going girls. I gave widows some things. So it's not like I was a stranger to them. But now coming in to vie for a position, that is now where the problem started. And now they were asking that, they were telling me maybe I should go get married first somewhere and then vie there so that if I win there, I will not steal their money. And so such things have been maybe impediments to women. And the same thing they tell you on ground is the same thing they tell you online. Like you just go to a Facebook page, our village Facebook page, and whatever they post about me was always that unmarried girl, that busybody, because you're a busybody. What do you want in our village? So those are the things that maybe threw me off during the campaigns. And I'm thankful to my parents. My siblings were not affected much because they were in Nairobi working, but my parents, as much as they were my support system, I also feel like I gave them depression. I don't know, because everything I passed through, they also passed through because I was campaigning from my home. Oh my God. Can I stop talking now? I'm really thrown off already. Who is this?
All right. Thank you. Please, Naila, please check on the comments and remove JJ. Thank you. All right. We'll proceed with online harassment and race. So we have all these social media platforms. You have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have Twitter, and for some also LinkedIn. And sometimes when you please remove JJ, I think he's out, Taslim. All right. So yeah, so we have all these social media platforms, and whenever, all right, thank you, Marceline. All right, yes. So whenever you post something or you go to a TV station and you've posted and people comment, have you seen any sort of harassment on your Twitter or on your Facebook or Instagram, and how have you proceeded? What have you done about it? Keep a watch on Anna, please, and confirm if she's legit. So I'll start with you, Anjiko.
niggers, fuck niggers, have sex with niggers, and kill niggers, and have sex with niggers. Fuck niggers, fuck niggers, fuck niggers.
Kirota, I'll assume you're saying I proceed. You were muted.
Yes, sorry, I'm saying you proceed.
Oh my God, the disruption today. I mean, even right now, we're going through online harassment. It's so real. And people are really getting to witness as we go through this. But anyway, regardless, we move forward. The kind of racism I've gone through is a bit different. I really had a huge platform on Facebook, and because I loved also even having it. It was something that I really built, and I had about 18K following. But people really tried to silence me with that account because I would speak my mind, especially even as an activist, as a HRD, as a political activist. You will speak your mind, especially if you're not a sycophant. And people will find ways on how to silence you, or how to, if they can't control you, then they have to silence you. So my account was hacked, and when it was hacked, I contacted Meta to tell them that my account has been hacked. This is not me.
Oui, bonjour, je suis modérateur de Zoom. On m'a signalé qu'il y a des intrus dans l'appel.
I proceed. So when I asked Meta, I contacted Meta to support me, to help me regain access to my account. Meta told me that people from my continent, they don't support people from my continent on such kind of cases. And if I really feel justified that I need my account back, I should get a lawyer and then have him send papers all the way to the US so that they can be able to, so that I can have a case on it. And I wondered, why don't we have, Facebook is already a digital platform. Why can't we sort this digitally? And first of all, why would you say people from my continent? Like, okay, fine, I'm from Africa and I'm a Black woman. So what does that mean? That I can't have access to support systems that Meta have in place for people who put out their necks to solve social injustices and are therefore for social change. And once I went on Twitter to talk about the kind of racism that I went through with Meta, and Meta still did not respond, even if that tweet blew up. They still did not respond. They looked the other way. And someone asked me, do you want to go to court to battle this out? And I thought, this is too much work. Let me just start again. And it was just immediately after campaign. So I was really tired and I really didn't want to go through another form of battle. So racism exists. It is there. And we have big tech companies such as Meta propagating racism. And as Africa, we are a big, huge market for Facebook. I mean, Facebook, even Kenya itself, not even thinking about every other nation. Kenya itself, we have so many people on Facebook itself, the platform itself. And we go through racism and there's no way we can take these big tech companies. In Kenya, do we have systems in place, structures, frameworks that we can hold big tech companies in you can hold them to account? But we don't have. But I mean, you will see Meta supporting influencers. I mean, it's fine and it's okay. But what about women like us, women who are there for social change, women who are driving narratives that are going to put Africa forward? There is no support system for us. And among the recommendations I give is that Meta also to involve women like us, and so that we can be able to tell them the kind of harassment we go through, the kind of intersectionality that we go through, and the support that we also need. So yeah.
Thank you, Wanjiko, for that comprehensive feedback. And I'm so sorry you had to go through that because I know it takes a lot to build an account. Taslin, over to you.
Can you just kindly repeat the question?
Yeah, we were talking about race, online harassment in terms of race. Some of these technological companies that we use, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, they are not like African based. Most of them come from Silicon Valley, from US. Have you experienced online sort of harassment and you have no remedy? At most you can do is report, and maybe if you report, nothing will happen. Maybe you have to go an extent of blocking.
Recently I posted something, I think on TikTok, and it blew up. And I got so many, when something surpasses like maybe 10,000 views, it goes all the way to 700 million, you lose the personal touch. And so you can't control the comments, you can't control anything that comes with it, you can't control your inbox. And so I received a lot of slurs just being thrown at me, and I didn't even know how big of a deal that post was, really. And I tried to report some of them, and I don't think anything happened to them because the comments just kept on coming, and I was wondering, now, do I filter this out? Do I block these people? But it's a lot of work. How do you even start blocking 700,000 people? You can't. So I think these are now the things that the tech companies should look into, but I haven't experienced racism directly like Dika has. I've only experienced maybe once when I was working with a Chinese company. Yeah, those people are racist. But yeah, I haven't experienced racism directly.
All right. Do you think, Tasli, now that you haven't experienced racism directly, do you think it's the same? Do you think women vying in Africa perhaps have it harder than maybe a young woman vying in Europe? What would your perspective be? Do you think it's the same dosage?
I don't think it's the same dosage, just as we said about intersectionality. Different people experience different challenges differently. For me, I'm a young woman without money, without what, and then you'll find, like, let's just use an example, Rachel Ruto. She's already in an advantage point where she has the resources, she has the fame, she has everything. So different people experience these challenges differently. You wouldn't expect me to experience the same challenges compared to maybe a person, maybe a woman living in the Northeastern, because their society is highly patriarchal compared to mine. So yes, we have different challenges. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Taslin. Rebecca, you've just seen what has happened right now. We are trying to have a conversation. As an expert, really, sometimes tunatakanga ukuje kwa ground. Like, we are trying to have a conversation, you have your flow of thoughts, Wanjiko wants to say this, Taslin wants to say this, and someone already is bullying us on a social media platform while we are talking about online harassment. Tell us, how do we cope as experts? Sisi tumezoea, we just wing it and deal with it. And then later it affects us, but tunasema, we, hiyo kitu ilikuwa tough for 1 hour, tushazoea. Tell us, how are we supposed to deal with this? How is Marceline, when she's having her own platform with other women, how is she supposed to deal with this?
Anita, I'll start by saying I think I was one of the people thrown off. Probably you might have the experience. I think in the stage of everything, I was at the shock level, and I had to calm myself down. Like, this is the first time I'm experiencing this, and definitely I empathize with all of us, especially now that we're talking about the, the online harassment. How do we what is important here is at the same time, just trying to figure out psychologically how we can build resilience in terms of managing the whole aspect of the online harassment. And probably one of the best thing here is, especially ourselves, is identify how we, like in this particular situation, just using the example of what has just happened, I could tell, Taslin and Wanjiku they're like, okay, we're kind of used to this. This is okay. They looked a little bit calm, laughed about it. But at the same time, it reaches a place we just say, we have to accept how the things are. having the knowledge of accepting and understanding that there's something like this going on. And that is the major factor that is making us even have this kind of discussions to see how we can manage ourselves mentally, is just to accept the situation that we have an issue with the online harassment. It is there, it is real, and it's a matter of how do we manage it. Building resilience around all this, first of all, is accepting what is there and putting in place, and even maintaining policies that will enable us to be able to advocate more for this. Self-care, again, would be very important for us here, Anita. How do we say self-care starts with identifying where we need to get a break. You know, just as Taslin and Wanjiku have said, when can we step back? Your parents are all in this, your family members have been dragged in all this, the culture seems to be in a different direction. When do we just be able to say, I can take a day off, I will not look at my online today, maybe 2 days later, I can take a break. Those are some of the ways we can take care of ourselves mentally, psychologically, to be able to know this. When even identifying the symptoms, how am I behaving? You know, taking care of each other. You're withdrawing, you know, all of a sudden you don't want the courage to go out there and shine as a politician the way you're supposed to, because, you know, the anxiety is real. So just understanding the whole idea and know when to take a break and know when to seek help, especially mentally, will be very core, Anita, in terms of just understanding how we mentally manage the online harassment.
Thank you, Rebecca. Me and Marceline often joke and say, please give young women a break. Young women sometimes need to go to Mombasa, you know, and just relax, because if you're in politics, you know what you go through. Naila, you shared some interesting perspectives. I wish I could project, but if you're in a position to project, you can, as we go towards online harassment and gender. So Mental 360 did research, and they say that young women are more likely to have personally experienced online violence, as we have currently, all of us, most of us. Generation X and baby boomers get it at 31%. And then Generation Z and millennials get it at 45%. So that huge difference between 31% and 45%. What does it mean for you, Wanjiku? What does it mean for you, Taslin? It means an older woman vying for the same position as you is less likely to experience online violence more than you. Why? Because of the intersectionality, assuming in 10 years, 15 years, you'll be married. So nobody will ask you about being married or kids, and maybe it will be just a gender question. And then they also have another statistics. I'm still waiting, Naila, if you're able to share. If not, it's still okay. They say the overall prevalence of online violence against women globally is, so they have percentages, 38% women who reported personal experiences with online violence. For example, Taslin Wanjiku, I'm sure you're about to leave this meeting and not report it anywhere and not even let it bother you. Yet you have a big platform whereby you can say A, B, C, D and raise awareness about it. But your 38% are most likely to, you know, get over it. It's okay. Naila says she can't share, but they'll share on the social media platforms. So you are most likely to ignore and move on. In the community, we have 65% women who reported knowing other women who had been targeted online from their personal and professional network. So 65%, they know, they've had and they've seen. 85% overall or witnessed women who reported witnessing online violence against other women, including from outside their network. So do you agree with these statistics, and what are your opinion? I'll start with you, Taslin. Please unmute. Taslin, yeah, thank you.
Am I okay now? I agree with the data, because even for gender-based violence, you find that 4 in every 5 women have experienced gender-based violence in one way or another. But what percentage actually go ahead and report that they've gone through this? And considering that 85% of women have witnessed this, that shows how dire this situation is. You've seen your friend being attacked. I think Maslin has been a survivor, sijui kama niite survivor or a victim of of online harassment. It was crazy. They followed her on Facebook. She left Facebook. They went after her on Twitter. They went after her on WhatsApp. Like, she had to go mute. Young woman, you get it hard. You get to experience it in a different way that different from what a man would experience or even an older woman would experience. Because also now looking at culture, our African culture teaches us to respect the older people, so they will not experience it as much. But let's also not forget Honorable Omanga, who also experienced it the other day. She was doxxed to be crazy, and the internet just blew up. So these are the things, the intersectionality that we're talking about. How you experience it might be different from how I experience it, but that does not mean that I have it easier than you. They all are just online harassment. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Taslin. Before we go over to Anjiko Thiga, also still another statistics on that. So in the globe, in terms of percentages of harassment, online harassment against women, we have Asian Pacific at 88%, Europe at 74%, North America at 76%. So the highest is in Latin America and Caribbean at 91%, and Africa at 90%. Why would there be more online harassment in Africa at 90 and Latin America and Caribbean at 91, which we also know mostly Latin America and Caribbean is also Black, and Latin America, I think, is Spanish. What would you attribute that to in your experience?
Is it me or bigger?
Sorry?
I think maybe,
Go ahead.
okay, thank you, Taslin. I think mostly perhaps is also because Africa and the Caribbean, we haven't taken, okay, I would say digital places it's very new to Africa and Caribbean places. Like, we have so many compounding issues such that digital spaces are the last thing our governments think to take care of. And it's just the other day that we've created a bill when it comes to online spaces, online harassment. And this is why people feel I can abuse someone, I can leak their nudes, I can harass someone, and nothing can happen to me. We've just seen very, very little cases of people who have harassed people online, wameshikwa. For example, is that if you harass or if you create pseudo accounts with government entities, that's when the DCI chase you. But the person who leaked Millicent Omanga notes has never been arrested. Actually, we know him. He's an honorable. He keeps leaking notes for senior women in politics. He has done that to 2 senior female politicians, and that's the one way he finds of taking strong female politicians down. But he's walking around the streets. And you see, our work, the wrong thing, or one of our detrimentals, is that we don't implement our laws. So this bill has been passed, actually, but it's not being implemented. And that is the reason why you'll find it's the statistics are very, very high in Africa. And it's just us to encourage our government. Can we really take this bill with all the seriousness that it deserves? Online harassment breaks marriages, sends people's kids into depression, takes through women like we, through mental degradation. And it's not fair. But you see the person who's trolling you, who's walking comfortably, actually is being cheered on. You even see them DMing Edgar or Barre and and feeling very superior about sending nudes, about trolling you, or so on and so forth. So if we can even now even change the narrative that the person who leaks the nudes, that is the wrong person. It's not cheering, not laughing, trolling, doxing the person who has been has been there are nodes that have leaked. It's the person who's releasing these things. It's the person who's harassing the other person. Because at the end of the day, if we hold them to account, that's how things change.
Thank you, Wanjiko, for that. You bring about aspects of impact and consequences. Naila is asking, should we extend the webinar or schedule a part 2 to continue? Wanjiko, what do you think?
I think we can extend.
All right, Taslin?
We can extend.
All right, Marceline, for purposes of having someone in the audience comment. Marceline? I'll take it your microphone is not working. No comments. All right. Maureen says, yes, we can. We need a gentleman to also comment so that we say, I know you've been commenting. I hope you'll give your insights as we proceed. All right. We are now at online harassment and politics, which we've touched a bit on it. Wanjiko, do you believe that political ideologies and affiliations can amplify online harassment?
Yes, they really can. You know, right now, for example, right now at this moment, if you're not on Kenya Kwanza, if you're on Azimio, you'll face more backlash, you know, because you're not on the ruling party. The same way, if you're on the ruling party and people are feeling really aggravated with how the government is taking, and you're on the Azimio end, then you're going to face it more and face it worse. So political ideologies can take you, it's another form of intersectionality actually, and it will take you through worse form of trolling. During the 2022 political campaigns, we saw a lot of new emerging trends in politics because we had never seen the consensus part. So people, we didn't go through so much violence because of political ideologies at that moment. But right now it's really coming out, because if you don't support the political ideology I do, then no matter what you say, whether it makes sense or not, that person will just troll you for who you are. I invite you to even just watch a clip I did on Citizen TV when I was speaking about mass action. And I was speaking about the president and how he has let young people down. We remember that his campaign was really heavily built on young people. And I told him, you're betraying the young people. You promised young people this and that. Please, let's hold you to account. Let's remind you that this is what you promised. And oh my God, I was really trolled just because I was saying I was looking anti Kenya Kwanza coalition, just because of saying that. And when you go and read all the comments, I was so shocked. Actually, people got to watch, and then so people had so much to say about it. And the names I was called there, just because at that moment I felt like I'm not supporting the president. So it does really get to affect you in some way.
I believe you. I experienced the same. I think that's why I actually stopped going to TV shows and radio shows, because in the onset, I think around September, I raised issues regarding foreign travel. I raised issues regarding the amount of money that was found. If you remember, 93 million was found in the exchequer. And I demanded that the government keep up in the same spirit. You know, if today you found 93 million, when it's 3 billion, tell us exactly how you're spending that money. I was criticized. I was told it's a new baby. It's the baby's not even yet born. It's just conception. And today we are having the same issues. For me, I was coming from purely an ideological point of view and demanding for accountability, transparency, but it was viewed as anti, like if you're not for us, then you're against us. Taslin, you're back. What do you think about political ideologies and online harassment? Does it have an impact? Have you ever come out strongly and supported maybe your party position, your KANU party position, or your own ideologies, maybe Maputo protocol? I know you're into the gender space. What have you said that has labeled you? You've been labeled or you've been attacked, and this attack seemed planned. Like you are seeing around 20 people, you are like, these are our new followers 2 days ago.
Yes, I've posted something on, I think the finance bill, and I've posted on about so many things, but that one stood out because the comments I was getting were from people that I've first never interacted with, people that are not on my friend list, because okay, my Facebook account is public, but then how did the algorithm get to you? And we are not even friends. We have very few mutual friends. So I've gone through it, and it's because you are talking about something that you believe in. And when the other side says that you're so maybe a bit harsh on the person that they support, they come on you really hard, and now they start even being now personal instead of just now talking about whatever you are talking about and being objective about it. Now they become personal. They go all the way to photos that you had uploaded maybe 5 years ago, and then they bring it, and then you find it in another group, and then they say, ni huyu ndiye anasema Prezo sijui amefanya nini, you know. So when you see such things, you really can't do anything about it because it's posted in another group that you don't even have access to. You just ignore. So yes, online harassment and politics are interrelated.
Taslin, even to add on, or Wanjiko, I'm sure you've ever received screenshots. Maybe you're being discussed on the same.
Yeah, I've received so many. Those ones, I think is also what I've gotten used to them because I don't know, they don't hold water anymore.
Mm. So Rebecca, over to you in terms of impact and consequences. What are the psychological, emotional, and professional consequences of online harassment for individuals?
Thank you, Anita. One of the impact of this online harassment mostly will come with anxiety. I think of late we've realized we've had a very high increase of anxiety among most of us, especially those who are undergoing through harassment. Anxiety are coming in different levels that will tend even to go all the way to people experiencing panic attacks. You cannot even be able to even walk on the roads comfortably anymore. You cannot want to go online and find out what people are saying, or you cannot be able to understand, that just being yourself, you're always fearing something. And anxiety has really gone high in terms of even making most of people have to use medication to manage the symptoms. And this will be breathing heavily, being shaking, and having some impact in terms of physically for them to manage their anxiety. Panic attacks also are part of the things that are coming along that people are really experiencing more from the online harassment. Social anxiety, people don't want to go socialize and meet as usual. That's again another thing that has come along. And stress, the stress level for sure has gone very high, leading to a lot of depression. Most of the time we'll tend to, but we'll be able to not be able to express ourselves. We are strong, sometimes Taslin will go like, I'm good. Then by the time we all realize what is going on, she's drinking so much these days, she's not talking to people, she's just not being who she is. We tend to realize is a little bit someone that's falling into depression without even really knowing that they're falling into depression. So depression has also gone very high. Eating disorders, yeah. So we have this eating disorder. Some might think, I'm good, I'm just losing weight. Then you realize, no, I don't even know how I reached here, or I'm adding a lot of weight. We also have insomnia. We are not able to sleep very well. People are lacking sleep. Self-harm. We're having people who are, we are having a situation where people are harming themselves as a way of managing their own stress. And most of the time, again, attempted suicide cases have also gone very high. Yeah, because this online tend to push people totally to the wall. And at the same time, as they go that way, the rate at which mental illnesses in terms of issues to do like psychotic symptoms have gone very high. So Anita, these are some of the impacts that online harassment psychologically have come away to us. Thank you.
All right. And still on that, what are the systematic effects of online harassment on marginalized communities? Because the impact might be more, and implication for social justice. Because you're already having this harassment. Again, you're also fighting for your space. And again, you're also supposed to fight for social justice. What I mean is, even when I look at Taslin and Wanjiku, currently you're already fighting for your space in the political divide. Again, now you're being bullied psychologically, which now means, again, that's another fight that you have to take. What's the impact on social justice? What is the motivation?
The impact on social justice definitely will relate to, as I said, most of us will tend to withdraw a lot. Yeah, because especially with the marginalized group, depending with how exposed somebody is in that particular community, how we are able to handle whatever comes our way will seem to be different. Again, not forgetting the kind of culture that surrounds our social, our social community. So the impact on the marginalized will definitely be way higher, especially as you have just said, Anita, you're fighting for your space. What if you don't get that space? So the psychological impact of it will tend to be, again, issues to do with the depression, emotional instability. You're just not be able to take hold of yourself. How we're able to express ourselves will definitely go high, the stress level. And at the same time, most of that's just identifying the kind of symptoms that come along with it. Physical aspect, I'm having headaches. Anita, what's going on? I'm having those headaches. You have no idea where they're coming from. You go to hospital, you're good. So some of the aspects that tend to affect us without necessarily having us knowing what we tend to do, even just fighting to be in all that kind of space. Self-esteem will go low. So most of our self-esteem will go low. Somebody is telling you about this other aspect, another one is telling you about something else. All of a sudden you have this self-doubt. You doubt yourself a lot. You have to figure out, okay, Taslin, what do you think about this? All of a sudden, you're not sure of who you are. So a lot of self-doubt will definitely come along. Self-esteem impacts us, especially for us women, will definitely go low.
Thank you, Rebecca. Wanjiku, what are some of the strategies? I'm sure you mentor young women in Kiambu, and they'll see you at a maybe better front because you're even speaking about it, you've experienced it. What are some of the strategies that you've employed as an individual or you'd love to advise a young woman also looking to step up into this space?
Okay, among the strategies that I used, and I remember especially during political period, is that I disengaged from the online space. And because I had bloggers who were working for me, I capacitated them with how to respond to bullies, and told them that now you'll be the one who's handling it, because for me it really took a toll on me, because I also developed anxiety issues and panic attacks, and they were bad. So they had the capability to handle the campaign. So for me, I disengaged, and I tell people that it's okay to take social media breaks. While I know our work is heavily it's heavily anchored on digital platforms, it's also okay to take a step back and take social media breaks, because its impacts, honestly, and we've gone through them, are very damaging. Another thing is that continue cleansing your spaces. Block people who bring bad energy, who troll you. Report their accounts. In fact, not just block, report actually. Let's block and learn to report them, and ask even your friends, can you report? And ask your followers, please report this account, so that you can be able to create safer spaces for ourselves, because this is a space that you continue, you're always on this space. And if it's not good for you, then it can't help you. So also help, we learn how to just cleanse our own space. And that's what I also do for myself. And again, and if your page is like, it's impossible to cleanse, you can start a new page. It's a lot of work, by the way, sadly, but it reaches a time where you have to just start a new page, and that's what I've done. I have a new page and I'm just building it all over again. So yeah, those are the strategies that I'm using.
Thank you, Wanjiko. Taslim, do I just wing it and deal with it? What do you advise young women looking into this space when you experience this quote unquote online harassment, call it cyber bullying? How do I deal with it? Should I expect it? And how do I deal with it? And how have you dealt with it?
Yes, you should always expect it, because when you expect it, then you brace yourself for the worst. And one of the things that I've done when I experience it is I just like go off. I don't read. It's not easy, by the way, because especially when you're in the campaign mode and you want to read what people think about you can't just you can't be off. But the best thing to do is to be off and not read these comments, because the more you read them, the more you have those anxiety attacks, the more you want to disengage, the more you don't want to talk to people, the more you have social anxiety that you can't even address your people, so it's not a good thing. If you can log off your accounts, that would be really good for you. Another thing that I've done is just to educate people. Sometimes someone will tell you something so wrong, and instead of beating fire with fire or killing fire with fire, you just school them there. It's so embarrassing when you're schooled. People don't like that. So when you school someone, they just get lost. So you just school them there, teach them some etiquette, just tell them this is not how this is done. I know that I'm like this. Yes, I have big eyes. I know, but it's none of your business. And I don't know if you remember when Wahoo was being trolled, and she gave out she responded with a lot of positivity, and it ended immediately she responded, the cyberbullying ended. So these are the things that we can do: reporting. And also, if you don't want to see some of the content, you can filter them out, because when you log into most of the social platforms, they ask you about what you would want to see in your FYP. So you can just filter out some content so that you're seeing content that you're more comfortable with, and those that you can tackle when things go mlama. Thank you.
Allow me to add more.
Right.
I'd forgotten one. For us women, we've created an online army, such that if I'm trolled, I can call women to come and also defend me. It's just like when Esther Passares is speaking about pro-choice and she's being trolled. We go there with our accounts and protect her. If Millicent Omanga is being trolled because her notes have leaked, we go there and protect her. So even us as women, be part of an online army that comes out to also defend you when people are trolling you. And like Taslina said, trolls don't like being confronted. Immediately when they see confrontation, they withdraw, because also these are people who do not even have self-esteem. That's why they project. So immediately when they see people confronting them and addressing them, they feel, now the self-esteem goes even lower and they just withdraw. So also have an online army, and then also have your own pseudo accounts. Sometimes you have your own main account, and then you come now with your pseudo account, and then most of the time name it a man, because when you say anything as a man, people just accept it. If you comment as a woman at an like challenge, like anyone you comment as a man, they accept, and they seem to feel okay, maybe I should let this go. So sometimes you can even also protect yourself with your own pseudo accounts that you create as a mechanism for also protecting yourself.
Thank you, Wanjiko, for that. And we have men here, and I see James is commenting. So James, please put a voice to the comment so that we can hear you. James, we are waiting, not in a position to talk. Okay, I'll read what James has said. James says, give me a minute. Let me connect this so that, or Naila, if you're able to read it, please read for me as I scroll through.
Okay, yes, I'm in a position to read it. So James says that my 2 cents, Kenya is growing. The rate at which women are getting into politics has impressively never been experienced ever before. It's a good thing. Women are leaders even by the simple virtue of being women. My only worry comes in when our generation, including Gen Z, want absolute change to happen in a snap of a finger. The 1/3 gender rule is a requirement of the law, but a lot needs to be done before it can ever be fully achieved. What needs to be done at this level is not only should we be advocating for it, but also letting women themselves support their own. It is known that women are the enemies of themselves. On the same note, don't act like you're begging for these positions. Build yourselves well enough to fit. It's not a secret that we are a patriarchal society. To fight in these spaces, you have to work on your intellectual muscles. Learn on how you can maneuver into filling these leadership spaces. It's a great thing seeing women winning political seats without being nominated, in brackets, which is more favoritism. It is not over, sorry, it is not over. It is not over until you achieve. The young women I've listened to today are the very women I'm sure will be occupying the top leadership of our country in the very near future. Aluta continua.
Amen, amen. Thank you, James, for that insight. And I'll not even lie to you. I'll give it to you straight. The amount of capacity building we go through and we are going through currently is no joke. Any other day, I think last week I was in Naivasha for a climate change summit. Taslin has projects with Femnet on 2/3 gender rule, on Maputo protocol. I saw Wanjiko has been put as a leader in using her space as a CBO, working with Conrad Adenauer. So, and that's still empowerment at the grassroots level. So, and I'm sure in 3-4 years, we will be at a better space. So even when quote unquote women are being nominated, it's not for a lack of one trying. We are also very active in our political parties. Taslin is in KANU. I'm in Third Way Alliance. Wanjiko was, I don't know, was or is in CCM. So yeah, so we are putting our best foot forward. Lawrence, I'd like to ask you about community support. Taslin mentioned that she got a lot of support from her parents, but she still knows they were affected because they could see from the background. Wanjiko mentioned that her dad was not there, but she got support from her mom and also the brothers, but the uncles, sorry, but she was also being quote unquote coerced with 3,000 shillings to buy Moratina, etc., that kind of thing. Lawrence, what do you think about community support?
Okay. Hello, everyone. Please confirm if you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Lawrence Atembo. I'm still a student at Mount Kenya University. I actually saw the poster and I said I'll join the webinar. I run a club, by the way, SDGs, MKU SDGs Club. I'm chairperson. So yes, now on community support, I feel like not all times that help will be there. So it's better to have. It is just good to have that mentality at the back of your skull that help may not be there in most cases, and especially if you're a woman. So it's funny. Our society nowadays can be very willing to assist men out there politically, as opposed to supporting women. So as a woman, just have that mentality that help may not be there sometimes, or maybe the community might not really be that open, supporting you, supporting your ideas, ideologies, and everything. So basically, that's what I think. Oh, thanks.
All right, thank you. Lawrence anasema tujipange. Maureen, on a light note, Maureen, do you think women are their own worst enemies? Wanjiko speaks of an army, but do you think maybe older women, younger women, there's some issue, or younger, or younger women and younger women? You know, last week during the climate change capacity building by government of Kenya, one of the youth leaders told me there are some youth leaders who think that if they didn't attend a workshop, then no youth attended. So if I didn't attend the Femnet Maputo protocol thing and Wanjiko or Taslin attended, I say they didn't have young women, because I think I'm the young woman who should be there, and Taslin is less of a young woman or more of a young woman. Do you think there's that kind of issue, Maureen?
Hi everyone. Thank you, Kirote. You've raised two interesting points. Are women our own worst enemies, quote unquote? Yes and no, depending on the experience. Wanjiko has given us a very good experience of women who support each other, especially in the online community. But I've also seen women give the most vile comments online. I've seen them be the most hateful. Women have attacked people's children. Someone is insulting you. I'm sorry, I'm in a noisy place. I'm on my way home. I've seen women attack someone and attack their children. I remember, I think it was Janet Mbogwa who was giving her story. And because she was sharing her pregnancy experience, people started calling her child baby Jesus online. Ati now your baby is special than other babies. Kwani wako ni baby Jesus. So when some things like that happen, you're like, okay, are we making 2 steps forward and 10 back? Because even as women, we're very good with our tongues, and we're very good with language and with choice of words. So it can be a gift and a curse at the same time. So like I said, everything, even the ones who give you support, and I've seen people also who are quote unquote your support, or people who you supported, when you question some decision they make, they might also turn against you. There was a lady who we were supporting, and when we did not, we wanted to understand some things, and we confronted her. We were gotten with a backlash of, you don't know what I'm going through. And then we were like, okay, number one, we are here because we support you. You know, it's not for lack of something to do. So the response we got from her felt like it was a bit much. Yeah. So let me just wrap up, because oh my goodness. Sorry. I've just gotten home and I live next to a church, so you can imagine what I experienced.
That's harassment. Anyway,
Tell me about
you.
it. Kwanza upate Friday wakiwa na crusade. Anyway, thanks guys. Great conversation.
All right. Thank you, Maureen. And as we about to wrap up, I'll as a sort of way forward, Millicent, you've seen what we've experienced, what Wanjiko has talked about, what Taslin has talked about. Lawrence is saying that sometimes we might not get the support that we need. And James has given quite an insightful way forward, asking women to support each other and not be enemies of each other. Women to upgrade, quote unquote, intellectually. I don't know who James you've been meeting, but he's asked us to be a bit more intellectual when we are demanding for issues. Millicent, what's our way forward, according to you?
Thank you very much. I'm not sure if I'm the only Millicent in this group. I joined a
You are
bit
the
late.
one and only.
All right. Thank you so much. I think way forward is that at a personal level, we should really protect ourselves. in the ways that colleagues have shared. But also we should call out to the law enforcement agencies to help in this fight. You know, there are laws which are in place but are not being implemented. Could we lobby so that we have the laws being implemented to protect women online and other people as well? That's my take. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Millicent. That's a great way forward. Implementation of laws. Taslin, over to you. What's your parting shot as we're about to close in terms of online harassment, in terms of remedy, young women in politics, intersectionality, sorry. What is it that you want us to take home as your parting shot?
Just as was it Lauren said that somehow we are alone as women. So, and just throwing it back to Sarah Thiga, she said that we can have a community on our own that we support our own, you know. And I don't believe in that thing of women as their own enemies. It's an ideology perpetuated by the men to divide us. So, me, I love women. Today, tomorrow, women are my favorite and they are my biggest support. So it's not something that's true. And if we start creating awareness so that people know what to do on social media, what to say, just etiquette generally, then we will even have reduced cases of online harassment. And we can also empower the victims, where maybe if maybe Sarah Thiga has gone through something, we create a safe space for her where we can talk to her, just counseling her, and even telling her what to do next when she's gone through this thing, because it's not something that's so easy to combat, considering that we are still a young country and a young continent compared to the Western world, where they have stringent legal frameworks, they have good policies, and so they take online harassment so serious. But for us, we're still young. We just came up with one the other day, which has not even been implemented. So maybe we can also lobby and push the government to implement this so that it starts working. And you know, when people see that that person was punished because of doing this, then they'll also be scared, and maybe this will reduce online harassment. We start small, and maybe in a few years we'll get there. And thank you so much for having me Mental 360. Everyone was amazing. Anita did good, Wanjiko did good. Everyone, thank you for I'm glad I met you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Taslin. So Taslin's parting shot is she wants like at least one arrest by the end of the year so that people start taking these things more seriously. Wanjiko, over to you. What's your parting shot?
I'm seeing James as a comment. It says, please don't misunderstand my work on your intellectual muscles comment. I didn't in any way mean women are not strong, and neither are you weak intellectually. My concern is how women can tactically get more men into believing and supporting their leadership. That's great. Yeah, it's beginning to winning more male champions into our community, and we hope we can start by winning you over. Or I think the fact that you're here already, you're a male champion. So we're going to continue working into winning more men into our side, and that's among the strategies that we are using currently to seek leadership positions and endorsement back in our communities. I think I'm going to also my parting shot is that we always assume that women are homogeneous, that women are the same. We are not. Women are human beings just like men. The same way a man can decide not to vote in a man, it's the same way a woman can decide not to vote in a woman if she believes that a man can represent her better. So women not voting in their fellow women, that doesn't mean they're our enemies. No, it's just that I still don't believe in our leadership capabilities. And this is because of the system, institutionalized patriarchy systems that they've also gone through. And that is why tumerudi mashinani and educating them why, and the fact that women can also lead. So let's not hold women into a larger yardstick. Ni watu tu, ni human beings kama tu wanaume. So that's the bit I can say. And on online harassment, I say take it back home. You see, there was this meme that was there, and it was a man using a pseudo account to inform his girlfriend that she's grown bigger. So the meme ilikuwa imesema timada mbona umenona hivyo, you know. And this is the boyfriend using a pseudo account commenting on the girlfriend's photo. And then I asked my brother, why do I feel like you can do such a thing? And I was like, yeah, I can actually do such a thing. And I said, I took that moment as a learning opportunity and tell him why this is wrong. So let's take back these learning moments to our families, to our brothers and sisters, because the people who troll people are our own brothers and sisters, you know, our own brothers mostly. And also we have women also troll at fellow women and fellow men. So let's take these learning moments back to our homes, because the most single unit of the society is family. So if when we educate our own families, even before tuende mashinani educate watu, tuanze nyumbani, that is the only way we can transform our online spaces to safe spaces. And above all, I encourage organizations that are out there creating manuals to support women in journalism, human rights defenders, and women in politics. Let's have very practical manuals, because before politics, I went through an online safety training. But when I was during campaigning, the things I was taught, they couldn't support me. So I felt that there was such a huge disconnect. So let's have trainings that are really connected to the, unajua vile ground watu husema vitu ni different, zipatane please. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, thank
Anita,
you.
can I say something? Can I just
Go ahead,
add something on what Tara was saying about teaching our family first? There's this time that Aisha Jumwa posted some video dancing, and she really was being cyberbullied. And so my then boyfriend commented something so mean, and he got like 1,000 likes. He had blocked me on social media, so I didn't see. You know, he came home, he came to my place and showed me this, and he was very proud of himself. It's just me, I'm popular. Okay, I dumped him because I tried to school him. And it seems like he was not understanding what I was trying to say, because to him, he had become an influencer. Aki nilimwacha. Yeah, that's just it.
Wow. That's deep. James, sorry, sorry, I didn't misunderstand you. I got what you're saying. It was just on a light note, so please take note of that. For me, as a parting shot before I hand it over to Mental 360, to close, it will be as a call of action. Lawrence, when you're doing your youth and SDGs program in MKU, please also include women, support women, encourage women, give women opportunity to thrive politically, economically, and socially. So for me, it's a call of action for all of us. Let's also, Taslin, Wanjiko, you can imagine we can just we can just move over that. People even interrupted this meeting with bullying, essentially bullying, yet we have platforms in which we can talk about it. So I think also mental health, cyberbullying needs a space in which we can talk about it. So thanks all of you, Lawrence. Thank you, Rebecca, for your insights on therapy sessions. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you, James, and thank you, Millicent, for those comments. So over to you, Naila, so that you can wrap it up for us. Asanteni.
Thank you so much, Anita, for carrying this conversation the way you have. I believe we couldn't have had a better facilitator or moderator. Thank you. Thank you, Wanjiku and Taslin, for sharing your stories with us. I believe we've all learned a lot. Personally, I have learned a lot, and this has been such an insightful conversation. I don't know how best we can continue with this, because I feel like this shouldn't just be a one-time thing. We can possibly think of ways to amplify this message. And as one of you mentioned, have at least one person arrested for this crime. Have at least one person, if nothing else. Yeah, so thank you so much for your time. Thank you to everyone who has participated. And we look forward to more of such conversations. If you know anyone who has experienced online harassment and has not been able to seek mental help, as Mental 360, we are offering free therapy for any woman in politics, any woman in journalism, or any woman who is a human rights defender. We're offering them free counseling, so please feel free to refer them our way. Again, thank you so much for being part of this, and enjoy the rest of your evenings. Good night.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.